Alrighty. Okay, I'm back. What's up, guys? Been a while, but I'm back. Finishing this painting. I'm not finishing it, working on it for a little bit. Have a little time. So yeah, I'm doing the audio a little bit different. I'm just playing it through the speakers, so this means that the mic's picking it up. You're probably going to hear the air conditioner going off, which is probably not the best. But we're still going. Alright, so we left off is what you see. It's a drawing that I did for just for fun of my daughter and I, just reading her a book on a table. So this is what we got so far. Last time I did it, looks pretty good. Actually coming back to it, it's kind of good to get away from stuff like this every once in a while, just so you know, you can get a different perspective. I like it a lot better now that I'm away from it and came back. But yeah, so I'm going to keep going and start doing some background work on this now. So again, there's the drawing. Different colors are on different layers. I was just trying to, when I figured it out, and then this is what it looks like with just the painting. And now I am trying to do this part, which is going to be the background and do stuff in the foreground that looks cool. All right, I'm actually going to turn the music down a little bit. I don't know how loud the music's coming out, but I'm sure you guys will tell me if it's too loud. All right, so I'm going to do some stuff in the foreground first. I'm just going to make some arbitrary shapes just because it's supposed to just be whatever objects in the foreground. I'll actually use the straight line tool to make it even cleaner. There we go. Just do that. That's kind of all I really need for that, to be honest. And this is going to be the foreground. Foreground. That's in the foreground. So go to the drawing again. Everything else will be in the back. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to rotate this canvas a little bit to get a better flow with my hand here. I like to do these like kind of arcing backgrounds for some reason. To me, it's a little better than just a straight background. Change these colors. There we go. That's the ground plane. And I'm just going to use this tool again and just kind of follow this line of shapes. This doesn't really matter because it just pops up on this side. I'm just kind of stacking shapes, just to create some dimension. Just to create some dimension, I'm going to be painting these. So it just looks like there's stuff kind of hanging out behind us. And then on top of that, now we're going to do this light thing. The light thing is going to be a little weird because it needs to be... I'm actually going to do a light in front of all this stuff, or right in front of the art. Just because this light is going to be shining on them, and I think I might actually just paint over them, but that might actually change. It's a little bit of a cheat move, Photoshop move, to do to just paint on top of the whole thing. Because if you're actually doing a painting, you'd have to think about it beforehand. You wouldn't just paint the dude and all the stuff and then put lights on top and then just paint yellow on top. You'll see what I talk about when I get there. But I'm just going to put a yellow color on top and then drop it down. But I probably will change a lot. I might not even do that. I might have it be behind them and then put like paint highlights on their bodies. Yeah, but we'll get to that when we get there. So I'm zooming in a little bit. I'm going to just do this line right here. And then there's this. Again, this is all a little bit of overkill, just the amount of shapes that I'm using. There we go. And then below, actually behind that will be the light bulb. So I'll make sure that I put the light bulb like this. Yeah, that's kind of all it is, really. I don't know what these little circles are. I think the little circles are in this drawing were just circles of, like, I was going to do light bulbs, multiple light bulbs, but that will change. That did change. So yeah, so here's what the kind of overall, again, it all looks really weird when you see it this way. This is just the way that I decided to work. It's the way my workflow is. And it changes over time, and it wasn't always like this, and I'm sure it'll change again. But you know, I just build these shapes of how I want them to look, and then I paint on top of them. So then I know what the shape of it's going to look like, because I try to keep everything real simple and shape-based, like a kid's book, and just easier to read. So yeah, so all of these arbitrary shapes, of course, someone's living room or whatever isn't really going to be like this and have this much stuff behind on top of stuff, but I just like it to do it this way to create this crazy like depth to where they're sitting. That's why I put those two shapes in the front as the foreground, and then each subsequent piece behind them will drop back. I could put little knickknacks and stuff on top, but I think this might be good. I think this might be good. We'll see. I might add detail afterwards. I did this other piece recently for my daughter. Again, it was just a fun piece. I'll pull it up right now. This is one I just did. I didn't time lapse this one. I just kind of wanted just to do it. So the problem with these ones when I'm deciding that I'm going to do them online is like I kind of have to wait until I have, you know, an hour or so I can work on it and stream it. But this one I just kind of did it, you know, late at night and just whenever I wanted to, and it turned out a lot better than I thought it would, to be honest. I used a photo of my daughter as inspiration for it. If I had it, I would bust it out. I don't know where it is. But it's basically the same thing. It's just her eating corn. But I really liked the way that the picture turned out. So I just kind of wanted to just draw it. And yeah, I started adding more detail on the corn part, which really helped sell the piece. Yeah, I like the way that it turned out. I think the problem that I have now and that I'm working with is just adding detail to stuff. When I don't, it looks a little plain. But this is a good point. Like, I think there's a lot of detail in her face on this piece of just how small her head is and all the little details of her fingers and hands. Like, that's those little purple bows in her hair that you can't really see unless you zoom in. But all of that stuff to me really matters in the long run. I put the details in her hair right here. And it seems real. It's real. You can't really see unless you zoomed in. But when it's zoomed out, it's still kind of there. Like, there's just a feeling of it there. And that's what I think is sometimes lacking in the stuff that I do. Just adding one more level of detail so it's not so simple. I'm not just washing color. You know, like how a shirt is red, I did the brush strokes that way to make it look like it was plaid, because I have this red plaid shirt and I roll up my sleeves just like that. But instead of drawing all the lines, I did it with the actual brush, and it turned out good, I think, at least. All right, so let's continue painting here. Start doing some ground plane stuff, and then the very, very background is just going to be whatever it's going to be, probably a very dark gray. I don't ever use black. I always talk about that. I always use something really close to it, but I will pick, like I'll pick like this blue here, and then I will pick a very dark version of that blue where it'll eventually turn black, but I like having it have color a little bit. Doing absolute black is a little stark, and to me it's a little bit of a giveaway that it's digital. So if I just do this and I fill it, and then I use this Beast brush a lot for doing filling in the background. And if you see, it's like, I mean, it's basically turning black, but it's really not black. If I were to put black on here, you would know it for sure. But just something like that. This might actually be a little too much. I like to have it be a little more texture. So I'm kind of switching back and forth here just to give it a little bit of texture. There we go. Again, this is easier when you have a pen like this. I'm drawing on a monitor that you can't really see. Maybe I should swing that around. I'll show you what it looks like. Why not? I think I can move this camera. Basically, this is what I'm drawing on. It's a Cintiq monitor. I wish I could zoom out a little more, but yeah. So it's a monitor, and you actually use a pen, and you can draw on it. And that one-to-one interaction really, really helps. So this is all the menu stuff that I have cropped out. But yeah, that's basically my setup. Wrong way. There we go. That's basically my setup is just drawing on this monitor, really. Okay, so I'm going to work on this red one now. And I'm going to keep working with the same level of blue. We'll see how it turns out. Might not be the best way of doing this, but just kind of experimenting here. I might even start a little lighter, just because I know as soon as I start using this brush on it, it's going to get darker and darker. I'll just kind of do that. And you can still see that the shape is there. And then now I'll do this one. I'll do this a little lighter still. I'm just kind of coloring it. I'm doing darker on the bottom with the highlight on the top. It might look a little chuggish. It is chugging a little bit. My computer hates this brush. I'm guessing that this brush it's doing a lot of stuff. So I have a lot of RAM in here, so I kind of don't know what the heck's going on, but it's definitely a brush thing. I'm using the same blue for this, but I just won't go as dark for the whole thing. And this, and the ground plane, I'll do, I mean, we have like a yellowish white tile right now, so let me just try this and see how this looks. Just fill this in. I'm actually going to use my painting brush for this. Tilt this. Let me tilt this a little bit like that. I cheat a little bit by making the brush a little bigger. And then just kind of paint this ground plane a little. Now, this isn't going to work, and I'll tell you why. Unless I make it really, really dark, this table is not going to pop off. But this one actually worked, because if the lights are off, you'll see what I'm talking about. I had to make it really dark so the table would pop off, otherwise it would have been the same color. What I can do for this is I'm choosing this color, and then I am going to actually do select, and now I'm going to paint these things a total solid black, and then maybe put a little bit of a highlight like that. Just putting a little bit of highlight on the edge of the thing, of whatever that object is, because as soon as I put this light in here, you'll see. Now, we don't actually have a hanging lamp like this, so, but I'm guessing it's going to make it a little orangey. Kind of give it some texture by going back and forth. So I'm going to use the original brush size. There we go. Lighten it up a little, darken up the top. There we go. And then let me zoom in a little bit. This. I keep forgetting to zoom in for you guys. There we go. So this is going to be the light bulb. And this is the whatever is the metal bar that's holding it. Wire, whatever you want to call it. I'll kind of do it real dark up top, so it just kind of blends in and then comes into frame. And that kind of works. So now this is where I start getting into how am I going to do this. So this is the lamp, and it's above the foreground. I'm trying to figure out where all these pieces are real quick. Here we go. Doing that OCD thing where I'm labeling everything right now. So there's the lamp layer, so I can turn that off and on. You can see it disappear. So I know between that and the background, is where we need to have the light. So I'm going to try this. So I'm going to use this straight mask here, the straight line, and go like this. And this line should technically bend, so let me go and tweak that. Go back to the hand-drawn line, and I'm going to add like a little bit of an arc. Try that again. I'm trying not to create a tangent with the other one. There we go. This might work. Actually, it's going to be really weird right here with this leg, so I'm going to kind of dip down. Dip down. All right, let's try that. So really bright white light, and I will do this. And then I will do this. So I'm basically coloring it, that color. Let me try something. So if I just kind of do this, I'm just experimenting here, everybody. So there we go. So that kind of looks like light pouring down. in a very graphic way. So I could just drop the opacity and start to see the guys in there. But this is what I mean by cheating a little bit in Photoshop. Because like, if I literally painted this, this was on, you know, if I was painting this on canvas or paper or whatever, I just painted over everything I worked on. But with Photoshop, I can paint it and then drop this opacity down, which just means I can make it see-through. I can do it varying levels. And yeah, it kind of gives that effect, but it starts to wash out all the cool colors that we did for them and the shadows and everything. So it's a little bit of a cheat move. It is cheating. So what I think I'm going to do is for the light, which is what this is, I'm going to try this. I'm going to drop it behind the painting, behind the art of them. So you still get the effect on the hard lines of them. But what I'm going to do now is go back, because I like the way this looks. This looks pretty cool. Might actually even crop the whole piece, make it a little narrow. Since I'm not printing this or anything, I might literally crop it like this, which is another good thing to do with Photoshop. I can make it real long and even do that, and then now it's like a nice tight piece. Just like that. I mean, that looks pretty cool. Makes it a little more compact. I can probably raise it up a little bit. I kind of like it when they're kind of long. That actually looks pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save this. You're witnessing editing. And I'm going to crop in. Because why waste the time painting all this other stuff if in the end I'm going to crop it. So I still want to have some of this stuff in the foreground. I just like it when it's a little tighter around them. Trying to make them a little centered. But now the light's not centered. I got to make sure this light's centered. So that right there, the light is centered. So I'm going to do that. Good. Just cropped it, guys. Boom. I like it. Here's the... Let's see, can I go back to the old one now? Oh, I may have just froze my Photoshop. Oh, I just crashed it. Oh, no! But I saved it right before the crop. I hope. Yep. Thank goodness. It couldn't handle the crop. It didn't know what to do with the crop. Again, I'm trying to make it so the lamp's in the middle. Snapping a little bit. It's pretty cool. Just trying to visualize it here, guys. Sorry. Trying to think if that's what I want it to be. Might make the foreground element in there again a little bigger. I want to give the back a little bit of a breathing room. I'm taking a good chunk off of it. I think that's good right there. So I'm going to crop it, and now I'm going to save it. As crop. Boom. Saved. So now I'm going to continue on. The only reason I wanted to do that so I wasn't painting unnecessary stuff that I would eventually then be cropping out. So what I'm going to do now is go back, because that's where I want the light. I like the light in the background like that. Technically, it'd be pouring in front of them. But what I could do now is I can, like where his back is right here, what I'm going to do is add a highlight. of probably that same yellow. Why not? Use this brush. I'm going to make it to normal. And if I kind of just, yeah. See, I'm just kind of running it along his back. Because that's where the light would hit it. And then I need to kind of erase this out a little. I kind of want to use the same brush. So what I could do is, yeah, so I do that again. Kind of make the highlight. Kind of just lightly doing it so I can keep this texture. It'd be hottest up top right there. That works. I like to continue it over here a little bit, and then it gives the illusion that the light is still hitting him. And then I can go here to his arm. And do the same thing right here. Kind of just hitting this with a little bit of that yellow. And then I'm pretty sure the hair would also have that. So this part's going to be a little harder because I don't want to make his hair look blonde. But it would be a little hot on top. By hot, I just mean like the light would be hot, which means it'd be hitting it pretty hard. Yeah, just like that. Like that, like that, like that. Looks pretty good. Let's back away. Let's see what it looks like. That's pretty good. I mean, it gives the illusion that the lamp is hitting him, which is all we're really trying to do. Now I'm going to put the highlight on her head. Do the same thing with her. So I'm basically using the same mask I talked about before. So I see I can paint over here, nothing happens, but as soon as I go into her hair, then you can see it. I'm using that same mask to use the same brush size, just be really gentle with it. That's all I'm going to do. Again, this is that subtle detail stuff I was talking about, which seems so unnecessary. It's so little that I'm doing. But there's something important about it, to me at least, I think. So I'm trying to find her bun layer. There it is. And I'll put a little bit of highlight on this top bun right here. On this bun right here. There we go. That kind of gives the illusion that the light's hitting him a little bit. I'm not the best at this part, but I think that looks pretty good. And then what I could do here, same with these like rock guys. I don't know if it kept, oh, it didn't. So what I'm going to also do is do this, because I cropped it, I'm going to redo this guy's shape. There we go. And I'm going to recolor this stuff. Did I not? Is it not both sides? Oh no. So making them both dark again, and then going back in, and again, not making sure they're not absolute black. Just doing that, just to add a little bit of texture to them, and then I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to grab that yellow again and just hit the top of this, hit the sides, because that light would also be hitting this thing. Might be a little too hot. But I'm just trying to sell that idea that the light's hitting it. Yeah. I mean, I think it's alright. I'm gonna quickly view these other places, see if anybody's saying anything. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I feel like it needs something in the back up here. I can have more knickknacks and stuff, or have a different background of like maybe pictures on the walls or something. Since I have a minute, I think I might try that. So I'm not going to delete this stuff. I'm just going to see if I have some other options here. Like if I did, I'm actually going to draw some stuff on top right now. So turn that off. I'm just gonna make this like a really dark blue background. Just like this. Just so I can see what I'm about to draw right now. Alright, take 2 on this background. So since we know this is what the art's gonna be, like I could have like maybe paintings back here, or not paintings, but pictures. Like a real living room. Could have the ceiling, maybe. I could have some photos here of like these people. We do have a shelf thing like this with some photos on it, and like a thing with some knickknacks. I feel like all of that would have to be centered too. Like all of this stuff would need to be centered. But then it's weird to have something behind the light like that, I think. So if this was like a picture frame with a couple people in it, and this is the picture frame. And since this is the ground plane here, it can have like a plug here. Is there a clock? Something like this. Might look a little more real that way than having the just shapes on shapes. Trying to put something in the middle there, but I don't think it's going to work. I mean, that might be a better option than what I had before, is to have those picture frames. So I'm going to do that. Calling an audible. Let's do this. So ground plane's there. I'm going to drop the opacity of this down. There's that. I'm trying to find, there we go. All right. So now I'm just going to instead of deleting all this stuff in case I really change my mind at the end, I am just going to put it in a folder. If I really need to, I'll just go back to it. There's the drawing. And although this ground plane is pretty good. And the ground plane. There. And then now I can start working on this picture frame stuff. I'll just do this all by hand. I'm probably just going to literally draw these shapes here like this and like this. Just to give the idea of a person. Use the straight edge tool and go boom. Oops. Boom, 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 boom. Just drawing the shape of the frame. Same with this. Same with this. So these frames are going to be a little funky, but I kind of like that. And then this is a clock. Not like that. So let me try that again. I'm just drawing. I'm drawing the cutout part of the circle. Oh, man, that was a good one too. Holding down the wrong key. I'll take that. Not the best. Actually, I don't like it at all. So I'm going to cheat once again. Use this ellipse tool. Do a circle. Trying to draw a circle within the circle. Here we go. This is exciting stuff, guys. Exciting stuff. Watching me try to draw a circle over and over again. There's got to be an easier way to do this, and I'm just dumb and I don't know how. There, I'll take that. Boom. Got some pictures set up. Oh, let's do this guy. Little plug. Yep. And then there was the ceiling plane. I'll kind of do that. Yeah, that looks way better, I think. Better than just arbitrary shapes. So for this background, I'm going to do actually is choose the color of the background, make it a little bit lighter, and then repaint this background. Just give it some texture there, and then do the same to the top. But keep the top a little lighter, just so it looks, so it's obviously the line to the. Actually, what I'll do is I'll make it dark. Oh, actually, will a dark line do? No, it would be lighter. Lighter. There we go. A little back and forth here, a little back and forth action. There we go. It's good enough for me. And then let's do these frames. I can just stick with a nice brown. It's not really going to make that big of a difference because it's just going to be so dark. Yeah. Just kind of indications of that it's there. I'll put a highlight like that on this one, because it would have a little bit because of that light. Do the same with this side. Make this one a little darker so his back pops off still. And I can put the highlight right here. Boom, boom, a little bit of highlight. Do it again to this frame. Again, I could have different frame colors, but I kind of want these to blend so much in the background you can't even tell they're there. Just barely visible. There we go. Because in all honesty, they would actually have a little bit of like a gloss behind them because of the glass. So I might actually keep the same color here. And then behind them, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make sure that I put stuff behind these guys. So I'm just going to put behind all of them. Put like a gray. Do that again. And do this. What's up, Jerry? How's it going, buddy? No, you're a busy man. I don't expect you to be here long. You got a life. You got a family. I think overall I need to make this a little darker because, again, I kind of want it to just get lost in the background. So even that's good. That blue is a little distracting, to be honest, so I'm going to go over it again and start knocking it back. I just want the value to be a little darker. Yeah, like something like that. And since all of these kind of live in the same area, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So for as much as I was talking about details earlier, for this, it doesn't really need to be detailed. I'm just kind of indicating, oh, there's a person here and a person here, and maybe their arms around them or something, just to kind of indicate that it's a photo of somebody. And then for this one, maybe I'll use this. I think green. A very washed out green. Is it not coloring that other? That is so weird. All right, let me do that again. There. You're just like, that's a weird, it doesn't look like anything. I kind of don't want it to look like anything. Thank you. It's a little boring, Jerry, I know. A lot of it I kind of do for me, to be honest. I don't get that many views watching it live, or people watch it afterwards or something like that. It's cool. But yeah. How is that what's happening right here? Here we go. Yeah, it's cool when I get people to watch. I'm not sure how interesting it is at times, because it's a little monotonous. But yeah. And then up here, I'm going to do like a turtle. I don't know why. We'll just do like the shape of a turtle. There's his legs. And I will do this, actually I'll do like a yellowish color this time. So I'll do this, 6, this, select, 6 again. And then I'll just do this. There we go. I like it, I like it, I like it. And I'm going to do this kind of a little bit more gray. I'll pick this yellow out actually, and then do a little bit of a highlight there too. Yep. Make it a little bit hotter right there. Yep. Just all to give the illusion that the light is hitting it. I might actually do that back to some of these again. I'm going to hit it a little hotter with this yellow. Yep. Looking pretty cool. Again, I'm just trying to sell the idea that the light is on. What actually might help selling it too is if I do this to this light. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but I'm going to make this a little darker because the light would only be on the outside. Yeah. There might be some kind of like a glow, like an outer glow, like that. Yeah, I'll take that. And then let's do this again. And I am doing the clock now. So I can do this by hand if I just kind of stay within the lines. And I know that this will probably be a white. And again, I never really use pure white, pure black, so I'm just going to bump it over a little bit to this blue. And then, yeah, do this. And then color it in. I don't know if this is actually going to get dark enough. I might have to make it a darker color. Might be a little more glossy because it's a clock. And on top of that layer, I got to do the hand. So I'll just make it like I could probably zoom in. I don't know why I'm doing this so far away. So here's the big hand. Here's the little hand. Here's the big hand. Seems like a reasonable time to be studying with the kid. And then for this, I'll just do even a darker. And I'm not going to do the times on the hands either. Because, I mean, the time on the face of the clock. I'm actually going to make this a little darker too, just because it's a little distracting still. A little darker, a little darker. Making it a little lighter. Actually, that yellow would probably hit right here too, to be honest. A little bit. Yep. I'll take that. I will take that. And I'm going to go back over this clock again with this like bluish. Make these a little darker. There we go. Let's see. I don't know. It looks pretty good. It's very dark and gray around, but that's kind of how it is with all the lights off. And then, even though it's a rug around the bottom, it looks like a spotlight. Oh, and actually what would happen is the light would not be underneath the table like that. It would be, there'd be a big circle underneath of where it's dark. Which I kind of did here a little bit. Actually, that kind of works now. So I'm going to stick with this, and let me try this some more. Let me just put some more down here. It'd be pretty dark down there, and actually, like his pants would be dark. Oh god, see, now we're opening a whole can of worms here. If I'm doing all these cool lighting effects, then I kind of need to do it down here too. You know? So both of his pants would just be dark. I mean, it doesn't have to be all in shadow. I can cheat it a little bit, but it would definitely be darker like that. Same with his shoes. Like that. Actually, I think I painted over the lines a little bit, so let me do that and this. There. It's a little better. I mean, it would be definitely darker, but I'm cheating it a little bit. Because like under would be well dark. Like that. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think this is pretty close to done. I know this was short. Oh, it's an hour still. Jeez Louise. But yeah, I think this is pretty much what I want it to be. Oh, there's the little light switch over here that I need to do, which is just going to be this. I'll just use this gray color. Actually, I could probably make it a little lighter because the light's hitting it, just so it pops off a little bit. Or something like that. Zoom in. Make it a little darker. I'm just going to use, again, this is an unnecessary detail. Make it darker and put the real dark, real dark. There we go. And just add the little sockets. I know this is such overkill right now, because you'll never see that. But it's there, and I'll know it's there. So there we go. I think this is it. It's not as like bright and colorful as I wanted it to be. It's very orange and warmy, but I like it. I like it. I could put a little more Actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add one more little detail to it. Since I was talking about details and how I need to do a little more detail. I'm going to add some like papers and stuff to the top that she would have. So there would be like a paper here, maybe a paper here, a paper here. Just kind of different colored papers. And then actually I'll do those a little better. Thanks, Amy. I don't want the perspective to be too... I'm not really caring about perspective too much, but I don't want the perspective to be too off on these papers if they were sitting on this table. I'm down with bending reality a little bit. That's good. Something like that. And then what I'll do is I will do this. So all of these are sitting on the table. I just want to try to see where this is at, the whole thing. Right on. There's the table. I just got to make sure, again, I'm dealing with multiple layers here, guys, so bear with me for just 1 second. This needs to be on the table. There we go, like that. Oh, it looks weird. I just jumped them on the table. And then, you know, there'll be an off-white, probably a cooler color, just to add a little bit of something. And use this and kind of just add a little bit of texture to them. Put a little bit of shadow underneath where my arms are. Don't want them to be exactly white. I don't know if white's the best choice, but that added a little something. You can see the detail. Something. I mean, maybe I should make them colored paper or something. Make them a little darker, maybe. I'm trying to lighten up the piece, but yeah, maybe something like that. I like it. I think that's good. I don't really know if I need to add. I'm just going to try doing like a colored piece of paper here just to see if it looks any good. I'm doing this on a different layer so that way if I don't like it. That's kind of cool. It just makes it a little, gives it a little more color. It just looks like she has some construction paper, which she does everywhere. Add a little bit of, yeah, Jerry, thanks. And then add a little bit of texture to those, a little bit of shadow under this guy here. I'll show you a little closer. Sorry, I don't really zoom in that much, but I just, there. That's better, I think. A little more. Let me try to center it within this thing. Yeah, a little more. That's all right. I think that's going to be it, actually. I like the way it turned out. I'm normally super critical of everything I do. I'm just kind of adding the darkness underneath. I'm going to drop the opacity a little bit because it wouldn't be absolute dark, but something like that. Cool. Oh, you know what? One more highlight here. See, this is what it is. It's never ending. It's never ending. I'm going to add a highlight to my arm here. don't know if I lost that yellow that I was using before for this, but this looks like it's it. So I'm just doing a very subtle, very, very subtle. On his arm, right here, boom. Just to add a little more of that light in there. There. I swear I'm done now. Again, I'll keep tweaking it till it's over tweaked. But that was good. I like it. Let me center it in this frame here so you guys can see kind of. I think if I zoom out one more, it's too small. Yeah, so we'll do it like that. Cool. Well, I think that's it for this. I'll kind of move on. This is just another quick study like I did about the one I did with the corn that I showed earlier. But yeah, I think it turned out good. I like the highlights on them. Playing a little bit with the dark and light. I'm not very good at that, like doing the silhouetted stuff, so this was definitely just playing with it and practicing with it. I kind of want to change the color of carpet, but I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to keep it this warm. It's kind of nice that it's warm. It's like hanging out with someone you love, being warm and cozy, even though it's 100 million effing degrees right now up here where I live. But you know, I think if it was cold, it might invoke like winter or something. So the fact that it's like these, again, to get the color theory, if it's like reds and browns and oranges, it's like warm, which is like kind of like a cozy feel and love. How they say you feel warm inside. Because if you're with somebody and you feel cold inside, you probably should be with that person. Anyways, so there we go. Another piece down. Probably this is another hour. It's like a couple hours. It was pretty quick. I kind of knew what I wanted to do and just did it. And then I changed that whole background. So it would have been done a lot earlier if I didn't change the background to what it was before. So let me jump between the drawing and then the final. I like doing that. So let me just group all of this. I'll just call this art. And then, so here's the drawing right there. You see I changed the background drastically. There's the drawing, and there's the finished piece. Yeah, now I'm using Photoshop and a Cintiq. And I'll show you one more time again how I'll do it with the camera. It's this monitor. So back when I worked in Nickelodeon and made money and didn't have a kid, you know how that is. And you have extra money to spend. It was actually a big purchase at the time for me because these things are really expensive. This is an old one now. I think the newer ones are, I mean, they're thousands of dollars. They're way expensive because there's not that many on the market. But this is what like Disney uses and Nick and a lot of these other places use. It's basically a monitor, and you can literally draw on it. You can, like, the pen touches the glass and you draw on it. So there's like a one-to-one connection. If you use like a Wacom tablet, that's like the little tablet that sits to the side. And you can get professional artists use that all the time, and they get really, really good at it. Yeah, they're still expensive. Yeah. They're better and better, though. They're better than this one. Like, this one doesn't have as many levels as pressure sensitivity and all that stuff, which, I mean, if you don't know what that is, it's just how hard I press is how big the brush will get. There's like 1,000 something, but I think the new ones have like 2,000. Yeah, so I was pretty lucky to, at the time, again, didn't have much overhead, was able to afford something like this. I've been using it for years now. I don't really plan on getting a newer one because this does what I need it to do. I heard the new ones with the pressure sensitivity is like super cool, and make it a little easier, you know, to draw those fine lines. But honestly, this works. And honestly, you can buy a $100 Wacom tablet, and it would work. Again, I've seen professionals who are way better than myself who use a tablet. Which again is like that little tablet you plug in USB. It sits next to your computer, and there's a little bit of a learning curve when you're learning to draw. The direct connection is definitely the best thing. But you get really good at drawing with the tablet. You know, it takes, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks or whatever, but your brain really does a good job of making that connection. and then it's just easy. It's just like using a monitor. But there is something about the one-to-one that's really intuitive. There is a weird thing though, especially with this older models. I don't know if the newer ones have it, but there is like a thin couple millimeter um, gap between the glass of the monitor or the plastic and the actual monitor itself. So the pen, even though it's touching it, it's not literally touching it. It's not literally touching the screen that you're drawing on. There's like a gap there. So it is touching the glass. So that part is a little hard to get over, but again, it's not as hard as the one-to-one. I mean, the using the tablet disconnect. But yeah, if you're able to get one of these, you can probably get them on eBay. I think they're still like $1,000, which is insane. But I would say if you're really serious, I use it for drawing, and then I'll use it for editing video. I'll still use the pen and stuff to scrub through video when I'm making videos and stuff. Yeah, the iPad and the pencil are like the next big thing right now. I think the iPad Pro is really expensive itself though, but so if you're doing that and getting a pencil, you might be able to buy a Cintiq online or a used one or something maybe, because I don't know how much they are. I think they're a couple grand, the new Cintiqs, maybe 2,500. And I don't know. I think the iPad Pros are like what, like $1,000? They might even be more than that. I don't know. But a lot of artist friends that I know are going that route because it does the same thing as this, and it's portable, which is awesome. And then they have programs that work just like Photoshop. I'm not sure if they are literally using Photoshop, but there's a couple of programs that work the same with layers and painting. And there's something cool about being able to be on the go and to sketch digitally. So that's definitely a thing that people are doing. If I had a lot of money, I'd probably do that. I still enjoy a paper sketchbook though. But when I'm doing like paper sketches to digital, then I gotta scan the page in and then draw on top of it, and it just adds an extra step. But if it's all digital and I'm just sending files over, then yeah, yeah, it's a smaller area. But again, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I have this giant monitor here, and I'm really only using like a small space. I've seen some people I have a friend who had a Wacom or a Cintiq like this, and the middle of it was worn out. Like you can see from just drawing over and over again, because people normally will draw in the center. You don't draw in the corner of because this monitor is like 22 inches, but I don't draw way up at the top. All I'm doing at the tops and the corners is just tapping to select things, but the main drawing back and forth and the painting is all done, probably within a 6-inch by 6-inch part of your monitor, which is the center. So if you see some really old Cintiqs, you'll see that where the middle is like worn out and scratched, because this is just a plastic nib. The one I use has a little spring on it, so it has a little extra spring, but they also have nibs that are made of like a really hard felt. And they have those, so when you're drawing it has like a little bit of tooth on it, and it has a little bit of drag, so it feels a little bit more like you're drawing on paper. Like it has a little bit of a paper feel. And I've used one of those for a while, but those actually wear out. You got to buy more of them, and they also don't have as much like spring, because this one literally has a spring inside it that gives like even more like push and pull. So when you're trying to do like thick and thin lines, which is the whole point of even having something like that. Anyways, no problem, Jerry. Bye. Thanks for watching. So yeah, here's the art. Went off on a little tangent there, but thanks for the questions. But yeah, there's the art. There is that, the finished. And yeah, I'll probably be posting this on Instagram and everything shortly. But all right, thanks again for watching. And I'm gone for a week or so, so I'll try to come back in a couple weeks and do another piece. I have a couple commissions, but I don't think I'll be doing that live, so it doesn't ruin the surprise for people. But hopefully I'll be back soon. Maybe just to do some warm-up stuff, just so you can see and ask questions. But anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.